Imagine for a moment a life lived so humbly, so quietly, that no one around you could ever guess the secret you held. What if you could build immense, life-changing wealth on a simple teacher's salary, completely unseen? This isn't a fantasy. It's the true story of a man who redefined what it means to be rich. In a small, unassuming town in America, there lived a man named Robert. To his neighbors and students, he was just a dedicated public school teacher. He drove an old, reliable car. He lived in a modest house he'd owned for decades. His clothes were simple, his habits frugal. He was the kind of person you'd greet with a friendly nod, never suspecting that he was walking a path toward extraordinary financial success. Robert was a fixture in his community, known for his quiet kindness and his dedication to education. He never talked about money. He never displayed any signs of wealth. He just lived his life, day in and day out, with a quiet consistency that masked an incredible secret. While the world chased fleeting trends and flashy lifestyles, Robert was playing a different long game. Every month, from his modest teacher's paycheck, he set aside a portion of his income. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was consistent. Rain or shine, good markets or bad, he invested that money. He wasn't a Wall Street wizard or a day trader chasing quick profits. His strategy was beautifully simple. He bought and held blue-chip stocks, companies that were household names, pillars of the American economy. He believed in their long-term value, and he trusted the power of compounding. He ignored the daily noise of the market, the panics, the manias. His approach was one of patience and discipline, rooted in a deep understanding that true wealth is not built overnight. It's cultivated over decades, like a mighty oak tree growing from a tiny acorn. For years, Robert lived this dual life, the humble teacher by day and the silent, disciplined investor in private. His net worth grew steadily, quietly, year after year. It swelled from thousands to hundreds of thousands, and eventually into the millions. Yet, his lifestyle never changed. He continued to find joy in the simple things: a good book, a walk in the park, a meaningful conversation with a student. He didn't need the validation of luxury cars or designer clothes. His wealth was not for show. It was for something far greater. When Robert passed away, his community was stunned. The quiet schoolteacher, the man everyone thought had so little, had left behind a staggering $8 million fortune. But the biggest shock wasn't the amount of money. It was what he chose to do with it. Robert bequeathed his entire estate to a trust fund dedicated to providing college scholarships for underprivileged students from his town. The man who had spent his life educating children had created a legacy that would continue his work for generations to come. His secret wealth wasn't for him at all, it was for them. Robert's story teaches us a profound lesson about wealth. In a culture that often equates riches with extravagant spending and public display, he shows us that true wealth is something else entirely. It's not about what you have, it's about what you don't need. It's about financial freedom, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are secure, independent of the need to impress anyone. It's the result of discipline, a long-term vision, and the quiet power of consistency. His life proves that you, Dan T., need a six-figure salary or a lucky break to achieve incredible financial outcomes. What you need is a plan, patience, and a purpose that transcends your own consumption. This brings us to a deeper, more philosophical reflection. Robert's life was a masterclass in humility and purpose. He understood that wealth could be a tool, not a trophy. His fortune wasn't built for personal glory or to fuel an extravagant ego. It was accumulated for a greater cause, a mission to give others the opportunities he valued so deeply. He found richness, not in possessions, but in purpose. His quiet, unassuming existence created a legacy far more powerful and enduring than any loud, ostentatious display of riches could ever achieve. He reminds us that the most impactful lives are often the ones lived outside the spotlight. Success doesn't need an audience. True fulfillment is an internal state, a quiet alignment between your actions and your values. So, how can we apply the wisdom of the $8 million teacher to our own lives? The lessons are practical, timeless, and accessible to everyone. First, and most importantly, live below your means and invest the difference. Consistently. It doesn't matter if it's $50 or $500 a month. The habit is more important than the amount. Create a gap between what you earn and what you spend, and put that gap to work for your future. Second, focus on long-term, value-based investing. Don't get caught up in the speculative frenzy of the market. You don't need to be an expert. Learn the basics of investing in solid, established companies or broad market index funds. Then, let time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Ignore the noise. Patience is your greatest asset. Third, define your purpose for wealth beyond simply buying more stuff. Why do you want to be financially free? Is it to spend more time with family, to pursue a passion, to contribute to a cause you believe in? When your wealth has a mission, it becomes a source of meaning, not just a measure of status. Robert's purpose was to empower students. What will yours be? Fourth, embrace humility. Your financial journey is yours alone. You don't need to broadcast your successes or compare yourself to others. In fact, keeping your finances private can be a strategic advantage. It protects you from envy, unsolicited advice, and the pressure to live up to someone else's expectations. Success that is silent is often the most profound. And finally, remember that patience is not passive waiting. It is active discipline. It's the strength to stick to your plan when it's boring, the resilience to stay the course when the market is scary, and the wisdom to know that great things take time to build. Robert's story is a powerful reminder that the path to true wealth is often a quiet one. It's a path of discipline, purpose, and profound humility. It challenges our modern definitions of success and invites us to consider a different way of living. A life where financial freedom isn't the end goal, but the foundation upon which we can build a meaningful legacy. In the end, we are left with this thought. Wealth is not about having a lot, but about needing very little. True financial freedom is silent. What will your legacy be?